It would help if I hit the record button. There we go. Today's video is brought to you today by the color bright red. So today's topic is going to be one that I see a lot of. I get this question asked a lot, or people just say it without asking the question. And I feel like it's going to upset some people, me addressing it, even though it's like the majority opinion, so I don't know why it should offend anyone. But what I see a lot of times is people saying, can you be two Myers-Briggs personality types? And because of my channel being INFJ, a lot of people are like, can I be INFJ and INFP? And some people, the people who really get to me, the ones who make me want to take a crowbar and throw it through my computer monitor, are like, I'm an INFJ/P. And maybe they mean I'm not sure what I am yet, but I think they actually mean they think they're so special that they are a blend of the two. And the answer is, no, you cannot be two types. I am sorry, you can't be. Just snap out of it. You can only be one type. Now this video is going to explain why. Now look, let me first start off by saying, if you don't want to take personality typing seriously, and look, I don't take it that seriously, but I take it somewhat seriously. Like, if we're going to bother looking at this at all, let's look at it for what it says it is. But if you don't want to take it seriously, if this is just a fun thing for you, if this is like horoscope in the newspaper, fortune cookie, that's right. If that's what it is to you, sure, you can be as many personality types as you want to be. I don't care. But if you want to take this somewhat seriously and like get something out of it, you can't think that you're two personality types. The other thing I see a lot is, can I change personality types over time? The answer to that is also no, you can't. I'm sorry. I know that you want to develop into, an ENFP because they have more fun than INFJs do, but you can't. This video is going to be about why you can't be two, why people think that you can be two, and how even as you develop as a person, that doesn't mean you're changing into another personality type. And I'm sorry to be so belligerent. The thing is, though, anyone who is serious about personality typing and Myers-Briggs, go to any of them. Go to Personality Hacker, go to Stellar Maze, go to Objective Personality, and say to them, I think I can be two personality types, or I think my personality type changes over time. They will laugh in your face. That's how ridiculous it is, okay? I feel like this is a long intro to a video. Why people think you can be two types, or why you can switch between types as you age or whatever. First, let me pour some Diet Brown into my cup here. Part of the reason that this misconception exists is because of it's the fault of Myers-Briggs, is that, well, it's also the fault of you all, but the perceiver of it is that it kind of gives this false impression that when you are a type, you are stuck in this very strict box and that there's no overlap between the boxes, you know? And that's what the stupid like Vox video and everything says, is like, Myers-Briggs wants to put you in these boxes, I or E, T or F. And the thing is, people just aren't like that. And it's like, yeah, but that's not really what the system is trying to say. It's saying, what do you kind of prefer, one or the other? And plus, the letters don't really matter that much. Well, I mean, they matter, but the functions matter more than the letters. The letter is a code to tell you what the functions are. That's a whole nother video entirely, but that's the first problem, is that you get this idea of these false dichotomies. If you're an I type, that doesn't mean that you are shy necessarily. It just means that your first function is introverted. You could be a really extroverted person and still be an I type. Just because you are a T type doesn't mean that you are a mathematician. You could be a poet and you didn't even know it. The other thing is the test. If you take the test many times, you might get different results, and it seems like most people do. And that gives you the false impression that you change over time because you answer the questions differently. But the test is flawed. So just because on one day you get 60% F, and then on the next day or 2 weeks later or whatever you get 50 5% T, does that mean you suddenly switched personality types? No. It just meant that on one day you answered the questions one way, and then on another day you answered the questions the other day. The test isn't measuring your personality type fluctuation. Especially with INFJ and INFP, I think the problem comes up because it's really easy to fluctuate between J and P on those tests, and a lot of people don't understand that the J versus the P isn't like its own separate thing. It's not its own separate dichotomy. And I think that's actually the biggest flaw of the test, is the J versus P dichotomy, because it's not accurate for every type. Ultimately, I think what it comes down to is people, if you get too far into Myers-Briggs too quickly, you begin to think like different types or different species or something. It's like we're not that different. We have more in common as human beings than we have different because of our personality types. The personality type differences, yes, they're very real, but it doesn't mean that like suddenly I can't relate to you on any level because we have different personality types. Like, you're still going to find a lot in common. You're going to have a lot of the same strengths and weaknesses as people of totally different types. You're going to have recurring things in your lives that are just part of being a human being. And so you have to really know what to look for in the differences between the types, because I feel like a lot of people just anecdotally think like an INFJ would never do this, an INFP would never do this, and if you do one of those things, you're not that type. Or, an INTJ always does this, and it's like, whoa, there's no always, there's no never. Don't stop using Stop using that words when you're talking about Myers-Briggs. You can have elements of your personality type that mimic other personality types. So for instance, like a traditional INFJ has within them a miniature EJ within them, a miniature ENFJ, because we have the same functions, but we are imbalanced in a different way than they are. And it's difficult to explain right now, but just trust me, it makes sense. So you have like these sub-personalities within you. You're still just whatever personality type you are, but there are dynamics of your functions that kind of mirror or mimic the dynamics of functions in other types, which is why it can seem like, oh, maybe I'm two types, but you're not. I don't know how to segue into it, so why don't we take a quick commercial break?
Hey, check me out. I'm two-type Timmy. I've got two personality types, 'cause I'm so special. Yeah, I'm two-type Timmy. Yeah, look at me go. I'm INFJ and I'm INTJ. Yeah. Oh, crap, who are you?
Hey, I'm the 3-type Thurman. I've got the 3 personality types. Check me out. I'm really cool. I'm hopping on one leg because I'm really cool.
No, I want to be cool. Why aren't we even looking at each other?
I don't know. This is pretty dumb. Check me out. I'm going up this hill.
Bye, 3-type Thurman.
Thanks for sitting through that. The other thing is there's a lot of different types of each personality type. Like, it's not just you're an INFP, so you're exactly like all the other INFPs. It's not like that. So imagine this excellent analogy. You're in the grocery store, down your favorite aisle, the soda pop aisle, or the Coke aisle if you live in the South. That's what they would probably call it. You have your Cokes on one side and your Pepsis on the other side. That's like the INFJs and the INFPs, for example. You're never going to find a can that says Coke Pepsi. They're you can't have two of the same in one can. They're both brown, they're both fizzy, they're both sweet, they're both in a can, but they're not the same thing. They're two totally different things. Okay, do you follow me so far? Now, here's the other thing, is that within all the Cokes, there's like 10 different Cokes. You've got Coca-Cola Classic, Diet Coke, my favorite, Coke Zero. You have Cherry Coke, you have Vanilla Coke, all kinds of stuff. There's all these variations, but it's all Coke. In that way, you have a bunch of different variations of what an INFJ could look like, and they might seem different, but they're all INFJs. Do you see what I'm saying? Playa. You might have a cherry Coke and a cherry Pepsi. They might seem to be the same because they have cherry, but they're not. They're two different things. And so as you grow older, gain experience, improve yourself, some people have said, some of my commenters have said, I think you can change types as you get older and as you work on stuff. And I see where you're going. Like, it's not totally crazy. Like, an INFJ is going to want to work on their extroverted sensing, their inferior function. And that's what every type should be doing. You should be looking at what's your inferior function and working on that, getting better at it. So say you are middle-aged and you're a self-improvement guru and you've worked on your extroverted sensing as an INFJ to the point where you're really good at it. So suddenly, does that mean you're extroverted sensing dominant? Does that mean all of a sudden that you're actually an ESTP, that you flipped your personality type? Or maybe it's less dramatic. Let's say over time, you focus less on your feelings and more on your rationality, your thoughts. Did you all of a sudden change into an INTJ? No, you didn't. You were just an INFJ who got really good at his or her inferior function. Because no matter what you do, no matter how good you get at that demon function, it's still your demon. It's not your savior function. And you can totally conquer it and be a master of it, but it doesn't... You weren't born that way. You weren't born like an ESP who had it first. And it's not natural for you. You had to work at it to get there. Let's say, for example, you join the Blue Man Group and you paint your face blue. And then let's say that there's a race of people who actually are born with blue skin. Just because you got really good at putting paint on yourself to look blue, and everyone believes that you're blue, you're not like the person who was born blue. You know what I'm saying? This is not a perfect analogy, but that's where my mind went first. Blue Man Group is a very good show, by the way. If you ever have a chance to see it, go. Just do it. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. So the whole goal of the Myers-Briggs personality typing, from my perspective, is to see what your demon functions are. So for INFJs, that is typically TI and especially SE. And so you need to focus on that and become good at it and become balanced so that you're no longer just living in the introverted intuition world all the time. Ultimately, if everyone really improved themselves and became balanced, everyone would kind of have the same ability in their function stack. But your inferior function, even if you learn how to use it really well, it's never going to be your natural function. It's never going to be your dominant function. Give me a break. But can we get real here? I think more likely as you grow, maybe you realize that you've been wrong about your type, and that because it's very difficult to see your dominant function, if not impossible. Perhaps there's just this illusion that you're changing type as you're discovering more about yourself, and you've really just been the same type all along. The thing is, your function stack really affects your life, and the patterns in your life, and the things that you ignore, and then the things that pile up and cause hell, the HE double toothpicks to you. You see, I'm getting edgy, guys. An INFJ is always going to have really bad recurring problems relating to extroverted sensing. Even if you become good at it, that's what your Achilles heel is going to be. Meanwhile, someone who is SE dominant is never going to have problems coming from extroverted sensing. It's always going to be from introverted intuition. And INFJs are never going to really have problems stemming from that, except when they overestimate their abilities, which is kind of rare because, hey, that's where we are all the time. And I think this is also why it's important to just acknowledge you are one type, only one type. You're that type forever, because it defeats the whole purpose. If all of a sudden you're two types, or you switch types, then suddenly you have a really different thing to work on in life. Like I am pretty sure, from what I'm learning, once you find out your type, you can kind of predict all the problems you're going to have in life. And you can look back and you can see in your life, oh man, I've had all these problems that are basically stuff that happened that I caused because I am this personality type. And if you're going to make this absurd thing that I'm INFJ and INFP, suddenly where are your problems coming from? From both of those personality types? I don't see how it's possible. You've got to pick. You've got to pick one or the other. I mean, it's not really so much you picking either. It's like you are one or the other. And it's good to figure that out, because then you can see, where are my problems in life? Where is it my fault that I'm causing these problems because I am neglecting my inferior function and relying too much on my dominant function? That's really why you need to, if you think you can be two types, you need to drop it, because it's not going to help you. It's going to be detrimental to you. Now, if you think you are two types, I think that's a sign that maybe you kind of have an idea that you're one or the other. And I think you just need to search your soul and ask your friends and family what they think, and, consult a professional and pick which one you think is you. Okay, so going forward, so many people ask me about INFJ versus INFP that I think I need to make a video series about it. So this is the first one, to just clear up, you can't be both. So I don't know how regularly I'm going to do it, maybe once a week, maybe every other week, I don't know. But I'm going to start making videos about INFJ versus INFP. There's some of the differences, how you can tell maybe, and hopefully that can clear things up. And it's not going to be an easy series, because I'm not just going to say, oh, INFJs are good at this and INFPs are good at that. That was going to be a waste of our time. I'm going to be like, INFJs are bad people for these reasons. INFPs are bad people for these reasons. Not that you're bad, but these are your weaknesses. This is where you're screwing up. And maybe through that, it will be easier to see, because so many times when it's like, INFPs are so nice and INFJs are also really nice, it's like, how do I tell the difference, man? Maybe the best thing is to just say all the bad stuff, and then when you feel more embarrassed, then maybe that's your type. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Leave a like if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you here again real soon, probably like Friday or something. Till then, stay cool and attractive.